Welcome to Alive in Conversation. This is a space for honest conversations about life, business, relationships, well-being, and money, and what it truly means to come alive. Together, we explore the moments that shape us, the challenges that transform us, and the wisdom that emerges when we stop striving to become someone else and return to who we really are. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Alicia Morton. Alicia, welcome. And for those listening who may not know you and those that aren't familiar with your work, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Of course. Thank you, Rachel. It's so good to see you and so good to be here. So my name is Alicia May and I am the founder of Boudicia Rising, which is my beautiful brand that I've had now for almost 6 years, which is crazy to say out loud. I can't believe quite how quick time has gone. So my work is all around you just deciding that you are the star now. That it's literally the first sentence is that simple. Decide that you are the star. What do I mean by that? I've been building this movement and I've just actually come out of delivering an event in London this weekend, just gone before I've spoken to Rachel, called Like a Star. And I'm leading something called the revolution of the rising star, meaning that I'm encouraging women to step away from industry labels, women that have been calling themselves coaches, therapists, healers, OBMs, whatever their title might be, and to step out of that and say, do you know what? I'm building something bigger. I'm building an industry of my own, a lane in my own, because something that I have seen in all the women that I've had a pleasure of working with is that they're already making great money, good money, maybe even have got to 6 figures, multi-six, building what they've done. But they've got such a genius, such a God-given gift in them that really they're only scratching the 1% potential on. And the moment that you decide you are the star, everything ripples. It's something that I did back in 2024. I had an awakening when I went to a 500-person conference in Florida. And from November 2024 till now, I've made 2 million in the business and I've been able to expand into press features, writing a book, events, just so much more bigger than I was dreaming. I was capping myself. I was putting myself in a box, in a label. And the truth is, so many of us, we never fit into the box anyway. So why are you trying to do that? You're shaped like a star. You were never meant to fit in this square hole or a circle hole. You were meant to create a hole of your own. So that's a little bit about what I do. But yeah, the industry icons are who I work with. Like if you're following people that are a little bit out there and are unique and stand out, they're probably my client.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that really speaks to me. And I'm sure it speaks to so many people listening.
Yeah.
So my first question is, what are you no longer willing to tolerate in your life?
What am I no longer willing to tolerate in my life? I love this question. I'm no longer willing to tolerate, and I think this is life and business, actually, Rachel, this comes down to, I'm no longer willing to tolerate the projections or excuses of others that are frankly there to try and pull you down. And I'll speak to this a little bit because something that I also have been saying a bit in my content recently is that the brighter you shine, someone will try and shoot you down. There'll always be that duality of you'll have your super fans and people that come along with you that are really turned on and activated by the movement you're building in business. But then you'll have other people that it really triggers, people that it projects. It might even be people in your offers that are acting mad and moving out of integrity as a result of you shining brighter. It could just be other people around you, friends, it could be family, even like you feeling like you're having to constantly explain yourself and people just not getting you. But the truth is, you're not ordinary, you're extraordinary. So why would you be trying to tell ordinary people what you do? Just show them, right? But that's what I will not tolerate, because to be honest, in the first, I'd say 2 to 3 years in business, whenever there was a client issue, be it a default on contract, be it someone exiting, be it something that kind of came up in the background of the business, I'd always take it so deeply personally. And a big part of that was because I really am close to my clients. Like I'm in the mud with them, you know, like I'm with them and I'm doing the thing and like I get to know them, their families. Like when you're working with me in proximity, I am an all-in coach with my clients. So naturally, when there's then that separation or that moment where something occurs that frankly blindsides you, it can be painful. So I had to toughen up my leadership in the last couple of years or so, because there was that realization that no matter how strong you build your boundaries, your processes, your team and everything around it, this is the nature of working with humans. There's always going to be these moments and these ebbs and flows, and it's making sure that doesn't rock my leadership. And I think that's been the real initiation, that kind of the shift from taking the business, like I said, from like multi six figures into like the millions, is like actually saying, I'm running an empire here. I'm building something bigger than just Alicia the coach. So yeah, that's what I will no longer tolerate for myself and also other women in the industry, because frankly, the minute I see anyone make content about another coach, it's a remove, block, delete, because in my mind, I would never put money in the hands of a woman that would badmouth another woman. That's just my opinion.
That's so strong and powerful. And I love that, actually, that journey and that process, as you highlighted, can absolutely be across our personal life and the business life. It's they merge, don't they?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So my next question I have is, and it came to me just before I jumped on at my computer, and I thought, this is something actually that I think I've reflected myself. So what surprised you? You've been now on this journey with your business and in the online space. Like, on reflection, what's surprised you? And it could be like something that you didn't imagine, or it could be, what surprised you either in the online space or on your journey? When you look back, what surprised you about it?
Do you know what surprised me the most, actually? I remember when I kind of went through, I call it my baby coaching days. Like, I started the business in 2020, Rachel, 2021, like making my first investments, putting myself in rooms. And I felt like such a baby. And I was going through group programs, private coaching, hiring different mentors. And I think the thing that surprised me back in 2022, that still often surprises me now, is that as you rise, as you know, you're making more money, you're playing a bigger game, the company grows, and you've got these big visions and ideas. What surprised me is that it's the same problems at every level, but just a different version of. So for example, I had that thing, and maybe some of the listeners will have this too, that will be like, once I hit $1 million in my business, I've made it. Once I've got consistent clients, 10K months, whatever the pillar is, because of course we've all got our own little, preconceived conditioning of what success looks like. So you have this thing in your brain where you're like, once I hit the success metric, I'm going to be good. And then it's when you get into these rooms with other people, as I said, as I've kind of gone through the journey myself, and it's like we're still having conversations about a similar thing, not the exact same thing, but like noticing that, oh, okay, the people that have already built 3, 5, 10, $20 million, 8-figure businesses, they are still having challenges. They're not sitting there going, woohoo, everything's fine, great, yeah, having best week of my life. There's still things coming up, and it's twofold. It's either strategic, or often the bit that surprised me the most is the inner world, that kind of like confidence in self. It's like, I had a reinitiation myself again recently, Rachel, where I've had rooms that I filled like really fast, launches that have gone really well. Like, I've been in a big spiral this last 18 months of success. And then recently I had a launch that didn't go quite as well as I wanted, and I had to shift it. And I actually took that story and told my clients about it openly. I didn't try and hide it under the carpet and launch something else, but I was like, listen, it's a reinitiation. I believe that it's something that I'm having to go through again, and it doesn't mean that just because I have built this success and built this business, it's not going to come up again for me, because potentially it's new level, new devil, or it can indeed be a new level that you hit, and the same old devil, that recurring devil, comes up and it taunts you, and it's like, oh, can you do this? Can you hold it? Can you handle it? So I think that's been the biggest surprise for me, is to just witness that actually sometimes we can put certain people on a pedestal, but actually if we remove them from that pedestal and realize that we often see that, there are challenges that are happening at every level behind business, and that's something that surprised me.
Yeah. And I think it's that undercurrent story that's fed to us from childhood of, whatever it is, whether you get the millions or the prince or the beautiful home, whatever it is, it's that story that everything's hunky-dory, this word in English, everything becomes hunky-dory. And as you say, it's so easy to project onto mentors or people in the industry that, that as if they're superhuman and so I think that's so useful as a reminder, and also the layers that sometimes that personal development that we go through, specific pain points or whatever it is, that sometimes they resurface.
Totally. Yeah. And when they resurface, it's funny because I was saying to somebody recently, I think what can happen a lot is we get stuck in a healing journey and we always convince ourselves we need to heal more. We need to heal more. We need to go in more. We need to do this more. The truth of it is, no matter how much mindset work you do, how much therapy you have, whatever, you'll still have these things that are conditioned and programmed within you. They're going to come up. It'll be something that will trigger it. So it's working with it and just noticing that, okay, at each layer it comes forward. Like the way I look at it, Rachel, and I'm sure you might even have a similar opinion, is that actually me going through it again, or me having to experience it, it strengthens my leadership and it helps me to support my clients better too, so that when they're going through it, they're in the mud, they're in the moment. I'm like, okay, it wasn't 4 years ago I was there. In fact, I've just been through that. And it feels even more powerful often to see it as this reinitiation rather than this, oh, I still have more work to do. Like I thought I'd healed that. I thought I got rid of that, you know?
Yeah. That's really useful.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a similar question, but with a bit more depth. So I'm curious, what is a belief or a rule or identity you've had to really let go of to create the life that you have today?
Oh, yeah, this is a great one. So I mentioned this kind of in the first question, that I'm very all in with my clients, right? And I always will be. I love to be. I think that it's so great to have that deep connection. Like women in my world are not a number, they're a name and they're a beating heart and they're somebody I want to connect to. But something that I had for so long, and I think it's actually why, to be honest with you, Rachel, in the year of 2022, I've spoken about this, I've referenced it in my own podcast and in content quite far down the grid now, because admittedly it's been a few years, but how between 22 and 23, I went through this period where literally overnight I lost nearly £30,000 off my MRR, and I had a lot of things that went wrong in the business. I had someone copy my full retreat, my sales page, literally everything, right down to the name with one word changed, my offers taken, my branding taken. I went through this awful phase. It was clients as well, and it was just so heartbreaking and hard because there was so much of myself wrapped into it. And when I came through the other side of that, I said to myself, you know what, one person didn't make my business, one's not going to break it. So I then asked myself, how can I still have my heart and still make sure that I'm the human in the business, that I don't take myself too far away from my people, so that I put myself on a pedestal, so that I become like God? No, that's not what I want me and my clients. I want to be with them. But how do I then do that and protect my heart? And there was just this certain thing that I had in my mind where it was like, I need to make sure that I am always available, because I am the coach, I am the business owner, they am paying me, they want me, not my team. And then for so long, like I said, Rachel, that played out then, that narrative where a lot of the shit, frankly, would come back to me. So putting in and implementing that more strongly when I shifted the model of my team as well, and I got the support in, I've got a scaling partner now, and she's amazing, the woman that works with my right-hand queen, she's called Amelia. And since she's come into the team, what she's been really good at is separating the difference between what's the client work and what is me in delivery, and me keeping my relationships really clean with clients and her dealing with process, me still art and still having connection, but having that separation. But yeah, for so long, I think I was so much in delivery mode as Alicia, the coach, that I didn't zoom out as Alicia, the CEO. And I think a lot of people do this in business. I actually see it, Rachel, where people are in delivery so much that they're not acting like the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. They're just the body inside of it, busy doing the thing. So that has been a big shift in, you know, a belief that I had around like the closeness, that I had to be active more so on the ground and with them, and, you know, very reactive and very in there. And yeah, me tightening up my boundaries. Like I had a client mirror back to me just last year, a brand new client. She said, you've taught me boundaries with love. And I thought that's such a beautiful way of putting it, because that's how it is with me. It's like respecting that and making sure that we've got that great open communication, yet with love, to know that yes, I am here and yes, I do care about you, but this is where the Alicia work lies, and this is where anything to do with payment, contract, moving of a call, shifting, blah, 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 any of this stuff, that's going to sit here with the team to separate me from process, so that I can keep myself in the best, you know, energetic frequency to support you, to hold you to the highest standard.
Yeah, I love that. And it's you articulating it. I mean, it makes absolute sense, whether somebody's got a 6-figure business or, you know, like you've grown yours to multiple 7. When you share it, of course, like from that CEO hat. But I'm curious, because I think it can be mixed fear. When you look back, do you think was the fear because I can know this from when we're hands in and we love our clients and we love the business, to actually delegate.
Oh, totally.
Like we can be afraid that can the person do it well enough, because it's your reputation of your business. So did you
I think that you're right though, Rachel. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the thing of it is, there is someone out there for you, in the same way that we would say this in a romantic sense of a partner. That is, I've been on my 5th iteration of the team in 6 years, and this changed in December of last year, and it's like we've nailed it. I even had feedback from the event last week where people were like, you two are a powerhouse duo. Like, my own coach was like, you two are like, this is crazy. And I've never had a team member before either that wants to have an ROI. She wants to be making back more than her salary for me, and is really interested in scaling like sales and having conversations with clients like behind the scenes about that. And I'm like, wow, that's so different. So what I would say is that eventually there's only one you, right? So you've got to let go. You have to you have to delegate. Like, my rule of thumb that I've said, actually, Rachel, like even back when, and I do really believe this is why I have built the success that I've built, is that even when I was making £50 on one sale here, like £100, 2 months without clients, I hired a part-time team member just to work a couple of hours a week for me, because I said, even when the company was small, I want to have this rule of coach, create, and delegate. And they're the 3 things that I should do. I should be coaching, in service, in delivery. I should be in creation, like creating content, creating offers, like creating, my programs, and then delegation, to delegate out to my team so that I can stay in my genius. Because if I'm spending 35, 40 hours a week behind the scenes doing the calendars, the admin, the contracts, so that like it's taking away from my genius. And you will, like, it's about finding that right person. So I would always say, like, what's really helped me is that I've always brought people on initially just with a few hours, maybe even tested them on one project, like something like an event or like a one-off kind of like offer I'm launching, to bring them in the background and just see how they work with me. But I think this is a big thing people don't talk about in the industry enough, Rachel. You have to train your people. Even if someone on the ground and they know how to use Canva, they know your contract system, Dubsado, Kajabi, whatever systems you've got. Me and Amelia, we have a weekly call. Every week on a Monday, we sit down and we go through. And then first few months, it was, this is how I speak, this is how I like things done. And I think that's something that, I'll be honest, I did actually incorrectly myself as a CEO with my last team, was that I just was so much in the go and delivery. I just hired them and went, okay, you come in and you deal. You come in, you deal. I will deal with clients. And then what happened was there was separation between me and team. So now with Amelia, we have this really great ongoing communication. We have a Telegram with folders so that we've got different components, events, actions, new clients, wins, whatever it might be. So everything is really intentional. So if you're feeling that, it's just that reminder that when you bring someone into the business, it frees up capacity. When you've got more capacity, you can be more of a star. Like, you can create these really special events, retreats, packages, like delicious offers, write the book, like whatever it is you want. You can have that time back to make more money. But the best way to get the best team member is, number 1, to get them in for something smaller first and work with them collaboratively. But then number 2, make sure as the CEO that you line manage them in effect, right? Like how I would line manage my colleagues. I used to work in Lloyd's Bank. Like, it's the same concept about bringing someone into your team, even if they're a contractor.
So it's that growth and that investment, that investing in somebody. Sounds like that's been a big development for you and the business.
It has, totally. It's created so much more. I literally feel like I've got 2 days back in my week since.
And I'm going to share, because I think sometimes we forget. And like you, I've been in this online world for similar amount of time, and it's mentioned often, but it is true that it can be lonely at times. And I think what you're highlighting is when you have a superstar team that you're building, whether that's one person on the team or a growing team, you have people, you have it's companionship, it's it makes it together, you're building something, the empire as you described.
Totally. Because I always said, like, alone I can go far, but together we'll go further. And having that person, like even on the weekend when the event finished, Rachel, like we went for dinner to celebrate, and before dinner we were like ideating around Q3 and around like what's coming the rest of the year, my ideas. And then she was reflecting back to me, we were bouncing, we were like connecting. And I thought, this is why it's so important to not do business alone. Whether it's that you've got your coach in your corner, your team in your corner, like whatever it might be, like there's something really powerful, especially as women, when we collaborate, when we connect, when we innovate, when we ideate. Like there's something that's really beautiful about that.
Yeah. That's great. So let's move on. Where in your life are you currently being invited to expand?
I feel like it's an interesting conversation because I've been doing so much of this in the last couple of years. I kind of almost feel like I'm done. Like I feel like I'm done. But the truth is, probably where I'm most being invited to expand is that in the last 2 months, and I actually spoke about this on my YouTube recently, I've gone through this kind of like, how do I describe it? I've almost had this like moment of like a death and an awakening, a rebirth. And it's been this realization, Rachel, that to cut a long story short here, because we could be here for an hour, I went through a series of events from a year ago, actually, pretty much to the day. I came out of a 7-year relationship, and that completely blindsided me, broke my heart, suddenly found myself single, needing to live alone again. Like, what am I going to do? And at 34, thinking, well, I was planning babies and getting married to this person, and now suddenly I'm alone. So that was the start, actually, of that. And then what then rippled thereafter was that I had a number of things happen in the company, some offers that I shut down that weren't feeling aligned anymore. I had some legal issues and ongoing issues with like a client and a peer in the industry. And then right at the end of the year, I was working on a very, very big project and had an event, and 3 days out before the event, the team that were working on it, they all basically like walked out. And I had 3 days before I had people flying into the UK from across locations. And I was like, oh, wow, what do I do? And then it transpired in the January of this year that I actually lost $60,000 on that project, and I never got it back. So I have been through all of these things that have been like, oh my goodness, like if it was one thing, it would take someone, it would just take them out of the business, take their mental health, take them. The reason I'm giving this context is because what happened in the last 2 months is all of this caught up on me, because what I did was that in order to get through it, I went head down. I went head down into the business, into the company, delivering, creating new offers, traveling the world, going to events. Like I really threw myself in. And by the way, I've got zero regrets to that, because I've sent myself on an upward spiral rather than a downward spiral. But then you see what happened is that when things started to then slow down again, I came back into this recalibration phase, I realized, hold on a minute, I'm not actually okay. Like I'm not actually okay. Like I've had all of these emotions come up again, things that I haven't really truly dealt with because I just overridden them with working. And it meant that I had to really sit with myself. And I found myself at, you know, of all the places to find yourself, but at the Ritz in Costa Rica in the jungle, at a luxury property on this mastermind weekend. And I'm normally Alicia, the life and soul of the party. I walk in, hi everyone, rah, like people know me. Like I've been on tour last year on 18 stages worldwide speaking, like so many women know me in that space. And I went in and I just wanted the floor to open up and take me. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I felt really like going into my own, and everyone else was having all these breakthroughs and these moments and these shares. And I was like, I just don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And it was a horrible feeling because that's not me. Like it's really not me. So I guess the reason I'm telling this story, Rachel, is because the big thing that I've been called to expand on in the last 2 months is going, how can you hold that duality of I'm actually not okay and I am hurting and my heart is broken and I'm still navigating some emotional, mental things. Yeah, I have got this big company and these clients that I love to serve and these events coming up at XYZ. So how do we make sure Alicia keeps going and we protect her and we make time for her and we make time for her to heal and just be and give herself space, whilst also not letting that become the healing cycle and circle, that vicious space that I mentioned earlier, and keep doing and keep moving. So where I've been called to expand is that balance has been really found in the last couple of months in terms of the way we've reworked my schedule in the team and like what I've been focusing on. But this next period of expansion for me, it is all about the personal, really. Like I am launching the launch of a new offer at the moment. I've got some beautiful visions for that, but actually that's just doing its thing. That's selling, that's filling, that's building. What I said to Amelia is the biggest thing, and I want her to hold me accountable to, is that I properly take time off in the business, is that I allow myself to have whole days leaving my phone at home, going to the spa, going to the gym, like going out for a walk, getting a massage, because I used to be so good at it. And then what happened is in the last 12 months, when all of my life was going wah, 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 and I couldn't control things, the one thing I could control, Rachel, was how hard I worked. So my attention into boom, 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 boom. And as I say, I genuinely have got no regrets, because I think the full circle moment it's brought me around to is this powerful realization that for me, that's the expansion. I'm going into this like series now, this era now, this moment now where it's like, right, everything is about pouring back into me so that I can make sure that I can continue to grow the company to its next million in an even more sustainable and, you know, strong way.
What a journey, and what a place, because I could just imagine it being in the jungle in Costa Rica, like sometimes the perfect timing of life. What a thing to move through and process. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
So moving on, if someone listening today is feeling stuck, disconnected, or that feeling of living beneath their potential, what would you want them to remember?
You are the star now, not when the world says it, but because you decided you are now. Like and this is a quote, I had it on my billboard in Times Square just last month. It's something that I keep saying again and again and again. You are the star now. You don't need, like, you actually have everything already within you. The truth is that yes, coaching and you being in the right environments and spaces, it will collapse the timeline for you on the inevitable, on the result that always was going to be yours. It will likely just come on the fastest timeline because you put yourself out there and moved. So I believe everyone has that within them. And I think the most powerful thing you can do if you're feeling that right now is actually zone into you, zone into your genius, like shut out all of the outside noise. Like I did this years ago. And I literally say it to clients all the time. If you want me to check your content, send me it, because I don't watch your content. I don't watch anyone's content. I have my own news channel and my own news feed. And that is so curated because I'm a creator, not a consumer. My mentality with social media is that I go on and I create, I don't consume. So it's really important. And I think that what can happen, and people have these feelings, Rachel, is that they're looking for the next shiny thing, the next answer, the next thing, when actually you're giving away your power. Come back to you. Come back to you, like come back to what do you really want? Like what actually is the business that you want to build? Like what actually are the offers that really turn you on? Not the ones that collect cash, not the ones that rub your ego and give you the quick win validation of a Stripe ping. What is it that you actually really desire? And then that, coming back to that phrase I said at the start there, you are the star now. Just because you decide, like the biggest shift I always see, Rachel, in clients that I'm working with, it's never the fact that they need to add 5 more offers to their suite or they need to like change their pricing. It's actually about the identity. It's about the belief of them locking in and just deciding I am the star now. Like I'm a real big deal now. And then match that decision with intentional action, but zone back into your lane, like come back to you, come back home to you.
And that sounds so connected to you when you say you are the star now. So is there a short story in how that landed for you, as this is what I need to be sharing with the world? Like was it
there is. Thank you for asking. So what happened was, right, picture this. I was going about my business in 2024. I actually was in a rebuild phase because in 22 to 23 was when I had that time I mentioned, Rachel, where things were really quite turbulent in the business. So 2024 was a build back better year, right? And during that year, one of my really good friends who I met in a mastermind back in 2022, Pippa, said, Alicia, I'm going to this conference in Florida. It's called Freedom Queen Live. Do you want to come with me? I've got an affiliate link. And I was like, listen, I'm the girl that catches flights. Like I love to be all over the country. I didn't even need to look, Rachel, at who this Bridget James thing was or what this conference was. I just said, yep, send me the link, I'm in. Like I'm like, if I can go anywhere, I'll go. So I booked it and I went to this conference. I was one of 500 women in the audience in the room in Florida. That was the awakening. And I'll tell you why it was the awakening. It wasn't because there was a particular speaker that said something to me. It wasn't because I flew across the world and put myself in a room. What it actually was that as I sat there in the audience, I met so many other women that were brilliant, yet didn't have confidence in themselves, and they were searching desperately for the answer. And yet every table I sat at was such an authority. And even though I didn't speak on that stage, I walked out of there and I had a $440,000 quarter, the last quarter after that conference, because I went in there as power meets power, not I'm coming here and I'm thirsty and I'm hungry and I need to find the thing that's going to blow up my business. And as I looked at speaker after speaker on that stage, I went, these women are brilliant, but so am I. They've not got anything that I haven't got. And it suddenly made me realize they were actually reflecting my power back to me. And it made me realize I've been playing smaller. And the reason I had Rachel was because my heart was broken and it had been hurt by other clients and other things. So I made myself smaller. I made my group programs smaller. I made my offers smaller. So then I went, you know what? Fuck it. This is the year I'm going all in. And I said in that room, when I got the mic in the audience, when there was a roaming Q&A, I'm going to be back on that stage next year as a speaker. And I didn't know how I was going to make it happen, but I locked in and I was a main stage speaker at Freedom Queen Live 2025 in front of those 500 people in the room. And I spoke on the stage 3 times over 4 days. I brought 32 clients with me. I flew my mum and dad out so they could experience it. They've never been to America before to watch me. And what happened from that moment was I just decided, I drew a line in the sand, and I even posted a piece of content on my grid that said line in the sand moment. Things are about to get loud. You're about to watch me go viral on people's hearts and minds. You're going to watch me blow up and go on tour in the next year. And that's what I did. I put myself in all the different rooms. I started playing bolder in my content. I went from 3,000 followers to 11,000 followers, and everything just went, and it was that decision. It was that, that's what it was. And then the rest followed, and then here we are now. Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. That just really puts the context on that. Okay, so we're coming to the final question. So
perfect.
I love to share, not only, you know this about me, Alicia, so I love to share not only ideas and inspiration, but practices that help us embody what we're talking about. Is there an embodiment practice or ritual, reflection, or a way of relating to life that has supported you deeply and that you'd be willing to share with us today? Perhaps we could even experience it together before we close.
Amazing. So what I'm feeling more called to share now actually is something practical, because I do a lot of energetic things and closed eye visualizations processes, but something really practical that's very simple that anyone can take away from this podcast to do. And I have literally, Rachel, been doing this for years. So it's proof in the pudding that it works. And it's something that I've implemented called Me First Mornings. So it's this idea that I pour into myself first thing. A lot of people will wake up and they'll go straight on their phones. They'll check their email, they'll check Telegram, or they'll roll out of bed, make a cup of tea, then be making content or doing whatever. I always make sure that I don't have, the earliest that I will have a client call is 11 a.m. or midday, but I'll do that like once a month or twice a month because of different time zones. Generally speaking, I don't take calls before 1 p.m. and I have my mornings to myself. Now, Mondays, it's a complete day off for me. It's called Me First Monday. So that's an extension where every Monday I have a full day because that's when I have my ritual. And for me, it's wake up, it's go to the gym, go for a sauna, swim, steam, have my hair washed, go and, maybe get a blowout at the salon, get brunch. Like, I'll take my journal with me. And if I get downloads for content that day, I'll make it. But it's not a business day Monday. It's a self day. It's like pouring into my self day. But then I said, that's not enough, just having 1 day a week. Let's pour it into every single day and say that mornings are for me. Now, why is it important? The reason it's important is because the first 30 minutes of waking are the same as the last 30 minutes before you fall asleep. You're in your theta brainwave, and you're in that most impressional brainwave for the day. So if you get up and you grab your phone and you see that a client's not signed a contract, a payment's defaulted, you see that there's something urgent that's needed, or even you just go straight into, reading those emails or making that content, you put your nervous system straight into go, 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 go. Like, you put yourself straight into that frequency. When you instead go, I'm going to just take that time for me, and it could be 1 hour, it could be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be the whole morning. You can start like this, but there's something energetically about it. And when I think about stars as well, Rachel, when I think about celebrities, right, when I think about people that are the most successful, that have built these incredible companies, I know for a fact that they operate like this too. I also know that the more successful that I've built my own business, I have more time for me than I ever did before, because scaling the company and being able to build all the different teams, processes, the things that are in place, it enables that. So anyone that's listening, I would really encourage you, like, how are you starting your day? Because it has such an impact on everything else that then follows thereafter it. So Me First Mornings, that's what I call them. If you want to implement them that, you can. But it's just that idea that when you're like this, and I think sometimes, especially my clients that are mums, Rachel, they can feel really selfish, like, well, it's my baby first or it's my child first. But I've had clients that are mothers that have just set their alarm 30 minutes, 1 hour earlier, and they told me how much more productive they are, how much more happy they are, how much of a better mother, wife, coach, insert whatever they are here, because they poured into themselves first and they weren't last on their list. So that's what I feel called to share today, because it's so simple and it can literally start, as I said, with just 30 minutes in a morning that you like for yourself. So yeah, that's been a game changer for me.
Yeah, I can hear it. And it definitely changed the game for me as well. And I can share as a mother that it is possible.
Yes.
Yeah. And also just to, I love that you've brought that evidence that as you've grown your business and you're growing your empire, that you've got more space back, because, you know, the fear, often in life, we know that it's the fears, the resistance of the fear, and the idea in our mind would tell us that, well, if I'm going to, you know, bring all this impact, and with the impact comes the millions, more impact, more money.
Yeah.
But the fear is more of me, and so
more of you. No.
Yeah. So I think
the women that I see model that the best, it's less of them but more potency. So more of a like potent version of Alicia, of, you know, yourself, Rachel. Like, and when I started the company, look, I used to do weekly calls every week with private clients, masterminds. Now once a month I have something called an integration week, so we work a 3 week on, 1 week off flow. So at the moment I'm in that, I think it's week 2 we're in, and then we've got 1 more week that it's integration. The way that happens is that in the integration week I'm still available in Telegram, but I don't have a single call in my calendar. That means I've got a whole week to CEO, a bit more time off, do what I want. I take client calls on a Tuesday and a Thursday. They're my 2 call days. That's it. Anything outside of that, it might be that I dial into a mastermind or my own coach or my team outside of that, because I choose to, but I keep my call boundaries. And it's so funny, because I remember right back in the day saying to a coach, oh, I don't want to take calls on a Saturday or an evening anymore, but I'm really worried because all of my clients take them. And she said to me back then, people will fit to the mold that you give. And it's all about how you stand behind that and stand on business. And it's so true, because when I shifted to Tuesday, Thursday, that's 2 days in a week that I provide for my clients. But guess what? They all fit in. And everything fits there. My mastermind calls fit there. I remember there being a time in the business where people would DM me going, what day is the call on, in order to sign up to my offer? No one does that anymore. And they just get the freaking call in their diary and they make it happen, because that's the way that people move at this level. It's different. So everyone that's got that fear, it is possible, because like I did admit, because listen, I'm vulnerable. I've got nothing to hide. And I really believe that the more vulnerability and leadership there is, it's powerful, because other women see what's happening. But I did fall into a bit of a hustle again recently. It wasn't on calls though. It was just me being in control and being in that, mode of, oh, let me make this, let me make that, and then like noticing, shit, it's 10 o'clock at night. What am I doing? Let me get my work balance back. So that was an Alicia problem, not too many clients or offers or team problems. So it's just having that discernment yourself too. And that's the thing. Sometimes there are push seasons in business. Sometimes there's lean back seasons, but knowing that you are in control of your schedule, you can create whatever it is that you desire for your life and for your business.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're coming to the end. So before we finish, for everyone listening who would love to learn more about your work, where can they find you and stay in touch? And we will post the links, but if you want to just say the best place.
Of course, yeah. So I would direct you to the 3 best places, depending on where your consumption is number 1, I'm on Instagram at Boudicia Rising. Number 2, I have a great YouTube channel, and it's called Remember My Name Fame. It's all about this star series, the journey that I've been on. And yeah, there's some really great leadership shares from myself. I brought a new guest on there just last week for the first time. So there'll be a mixture of like self-sharing and like me bringing people on to talk about how they've become the star and become known for their method, for their work. And then the final space is I do have a free Telegram community, and it's called 2026 A Year Without Limits. And it's basically just the space that I have open all the time, where I'll drop riffs in anything that's topical around what's happening. Sometimes there'll be these kind of like set things in there. Like last month I did a takeover, and it was called Alicia May. And the reason I did that was because in the month of May I had a billboard in Times Square, a press feature, and I had my London event. And I really wanted to bring people on the whoosh with me as I created this month of obsession, of fame, of like putting myself out there more, and just share some of those juicy leadership nuggets on that. So yeah, depending on where you like to consume your content, they would be the 3 places I'd recommend connecting with me.
Fantastic. And so if something in today's conversation resonated with you, we'd love to hear. Please share the episode, leave a review, and connect with us online. And until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep coming alive. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.